accepting our invitation and coming here sparing your evening with us. I welcome you all with the Islamic greeting. Assalamu alaikum. May peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all. To start this program, now I invite Master Abdul Rahman to come on stage for the recitation of Holy Qur'an. Master Abdul Rahman.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أفرأيتم ما تمنون أأنتم تخلقونه أم نحن الخالقون نحن قدرنا بينكم الموت وما نحن بمسبوقين على أن نبدل أمثالكم وننشئكم فيما لا تعلمون ولقد علمتم النشأة الأولى فلولا تذكرون أفرأيتم ما تحرثون أأنتم تزرعونه أم نحن الزارعون لو نشاء لجعلناه حطاما فظلتم تفكهون إنا لمغرمون بل نحن محرومون أفرأيتم الماء الذي تشربون أأنتم أنزلتموه من المزن أم نحن المنزلون لو نشاء جعلناه أجاجا فلولا تشكرون أفرأيتم النار التي تورون أأنتم أنشأتم شجرتها أم نحن المنشئون نحن جعلناها تذكرة ومتاعا للمقوين فسبح باسم ربك العظيم.
Thank you, Abdul Rahman, for beautiful recitation of Holy Quran. Mr. Omar Siddiqui will present the translation of these recitations.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. It is we who have created you. Why will you not witness the truth? Do you then see the human seed that you throw out? It is you who created, or are we the creators? We have decreed death to be your common lot, and we are not to be frustrated. From changing your forms and creating you again in forms that you know not. And you certainly know already the first form of creation. Why then do you not celebrate His praises? See the seed that you sow in the ground. Is it you that cause it to grow, or are we the cause? Were it our will, we could crumble it to dry powder, and you would be left in wonderment, saying, we are indeed left in debt for nothing. Indeed, we are shut out of the fruits of our labor. See you the water which you drink. Do you bring it down in rain from the clouds, or do we? Were it our will, we would make it salt and unpalatable. Then why do you not give thanks? See the fire which you kindle. Is it you who grew the tree that feeds the fire, or do we grow it? We have made it a memorial of our handiwork, and an article of comfort and convenience for the denizens of the desert. Then celebrate with praises the name of the Lord, the Supreme.
You are listening to the Holy Qur'an recitation and the translation. As you all know, this program is organized by Indian Welfare Association, IWA, Bahrain. To give a brief introduction of IWA, now I invite on stage Brother Anarath Hall.
Respected guests, it is indeed a pleasure for me to introduce to you the association under whose effort this humble program has been organized. We are a group of Indians from all parts of the country who share a common interest when it comes to the social concern in the society. We represent the committee called as Indian Welfare Association, or IWA in short. Although IWA has been officially named as the group only a year back, we had been working in the island for more than 10 years under the umbrella of Darul Iman for expected, and strictly within the framework of the law of Kingdom of Bahrain. Our group consists of members of Indian nationality, and core activities revolve around social, educational, and cultural related events. Although most of the activities cater to the Muslim community, but we do regularly conduct programs to include our non-Muslim brothers and sisters on various occasions, like Ramadan Get Together and other community events. We are proud to have been instrumental in shaping the Indians in Bahrain to a large extent through various social, cultural, and religious activities. The goal of IWA is to seek the pleasure of our Creator through learning, educating, practicing, and contributing to the welfare to the society. IWA objective includes to promote and cultivate the true knowledge of humanity, to invite to play an active role in the development of the society through positive means, to make arrangements for all-round development of the individual, associate with the organization, to nourish their talents, enhance character, and develop skill to make them more resourceful, to cooperate with other similar organizations who are striving for positive change. Through our activities, we try to achieve a communal harmony with people of different faiths towards a common goal. Lastly, we firmly believe that mutual understanding and cooperation is the basis of all events and activities. We invite all Indians to join hands for the noble cause and make the world a better place to live. Thank you.
This evening, we have our guest speaker from Kuwait, Brother Sharafuddin. Brother Sharafuddin is a well-known figure from the field of journalism in GCC. He is also a student of comparative religion and constantly interacts with people of different faiths. Having good knowledge of all major religions of the world, he can better explain the message of Ramadan. I take the honor to invite Brother Sharafuddin on the stage to enlighten us with the message of Ramadan.
Good evening, all of you. Respected President, Mr. Amir Beg of Indian Welfare Association, office bearers and organizers of the association, and my dear brothers and sisters from various walks of life in Bahrain. It's a great honor for me to be amongst you in this beautiful evening. And normally it is very difficult task to stay between hunger and dinner. And now we are in such kind of circumstances. That's why I'm not only giving you a lecture, but I will tell you some of the stories, which makes my job simple, and it makes you more interesting for you to listen, I believe. Let me start my first story. A group of alcoholics, they invited a professor to treat them. And the professor was showing a demonstration to them that how bad is alcohol. He brought two containers, one container with full of water, another container with full of alcohol. And he brought two earthworms. First earthworm, he put it in the container of water, and it swam beautifully, went everywhere. And by its movement, one could understand that earthworm is very happy in water. And he brought another earthworm and he put it into the container of alcohol. It disintegrated, it went down, and by its movement, anyone could understand that it's in a very suffocating atmosphere. Then he asked the question to the alcoholics who are seeing this demonstration. What do you understand from this? One alcoholic, he raised his hand. He said, yes, go ahead and answer. He said, if you drink alcohol, there will be no worms in our stomach. That was his understanding. Because normally this is how people understand things. When they have something in their mind, they have preconceived notions, they understand the similar thing. Whatever you explain, whatever you present in front of them, they explain according to what is there in their mind. This is what happens normally. First of all, that's why I buy in your free mind. And I hope that you will try to understand the message which I am going to give you with a free mind and try to understand it. I have been asked to give you the message of Ramadan. When it comes to the message of Ramadan, I would like to give this message to the Quranic quotation. About Ramadan, in Qur'an, in chapter number 2 and verse number 183, there is a verse which explains what is the message of Ramadan and why Ramadan is prescribed, the fasting is prescribed in the month of Ramadan. The ayah says, the Quranic verse says, Kutiba alaykumus siyam. We have prescribed fasting for you. Kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum. As we have prescribed it to your predecessors, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you may become God-conscious people. So you can see that in this there are three components. First component says, it is prescribed for you. Means fasting is something which is compulsory on global Muslims. There are more than 1 billion Muslims around the globe. It is compulsory for them to fast from dawn to dusk wherever they are. There is no exception, except there are exceptions for old people, for lactating mothers, for sick people, those who are traveling. Other than that, there is no exception. For every adult Muslim, wherever he is, whichever part of the world he lives, and fasting, it stretches from 9 hours to 20 hours, long days of fasting. It is compulsory on them to fast. And it is compulsory, it is prescribed. Why this compulsion is given? This is to discipline people. And there are so many virtues in fasting. Fasting means refraining from, not only refraining from food and drink, refraining from all kinds of bad deeds, refraining from all kinds of bad tasks, and doing so many good virtues and good deeds, and contributing positively to the society, and indulging oneself heavily in charitable activities. So there will be a huge result when it is performed in a disciplined way. When global Muslims, more than billion Muslims participate without exception everywhere in globe, then there will be a positive result. And this is happening. Why this compulsion is made? Because compulsion is not easy. For anyone, discipline is not easy. Discipline and hard work has pain. But pain for the discipline and pain for hard work is better than pain for regret and pain for setback. That's why you are born in this discipline that you have to fast in the month of Ramadan. This is the first thing. And the second thing is, it is not compulsory only for Muslims. It was compulsory for the generations of the previous prophets as well. Who are these previous prophets? Qur'an mentions that there are thousands and thousands of prophets came before Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. But mentions only the names of 25 prophets. And these 25 prophets are also mentioned in Bible as well. Adam, Noah, Enoch, and John the Baptist, and so many, Elias, so like that you can see Lot, and so many 25 prophets are mentioned in Bible, and all these prophets are mentioned in Quran as well, and there may be little bit difference in the name because of the language. Because in Bible you can see there's so many, it is Latinized, names are Latinized, so you can find little bit changes in the names. But it's the same prophets who are mentioned in Quran and Bible as well. And maybe Rama and Krishna are also prophets. We never know, the names are not mentioned, but if you see some of the attributes mentioned about the prophets, and maybe they are prophets. Like for example, Krishna in Sanskrit means black. And Krishna was of black complexion. And there was a prophet called Zulkifl, he was of black complexion. So that's why the scholars of the comparative religion believe that maybe Krishna means Zulkifl, who was a prophet with black complexion. So all these are possibilities. So there were so many prophets who came. And if you see the history of prophets, for every generation of the prophets, fasting was compulsory. Fasting was there. And people later on changed it, and they changed it according to their convenience. But in order to acquire the spiritual supremacy, and in order to purify oneself, fasting was always there for all the previous prophets. So here it is mentioned that this fasting is not only compulsory for you, it was compulsory for all the previous prophets and their communities. So this is one more thing mentioned about in Quran. And again you can see that in Quran, it is compulsory for us to believe in previous prophets. Like it is compulsory for every Muslim to believe in Jesus Christ. It is a must. Without that he cannot become a Muslim. And it is compulsory for us to believe in Moses as well. And also it is compulsory for us to believe that the previous books were the revealed books by God. Like you can see that the book revealed on Jesus Christ, book revealed on Moses, book revealed on Dawood or David. And you can see to modern Bible, it is a combination of all these books. Psalms of David, Old Testament and New Testament. And Old Testament means it is the book revealed on Moses. And Psalms of David is the book revealed on David. And Old Testament is the book revealed on Moses, which is Torah. And New Testament is Injil. So it is compulsory for Muslims to believe in all these books. And in all these books, there is mention about fasting. Fasting is mentioned in all these books. So this is something which was compulsory for the previous prophets, which is made compulsory for you as well. And you are disciplined that there is no exception. You have to fast in a particular month wherever you are. And the third component is which explains about the purpose of fasting. It says لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you may become God conscious people. What is God consciousness? God consciousness means believing that God is watching me. God is omnipresent and God is seeing me and God can witness whatever I do. This is what is God consciousness, and this makes a big difference in individual. Let me tell you the second story. There was a thief and he always used to take some or the other person along with him while he was going for stealing. Once he took his son. Let me train my son for my, that was his profession. Stealing was his profession. Normally people train their children in their profession. He thought that why not let me train my child, and he took his son for stealing. And he went for stealing in a coconut garden. When he was halfway through in the tree, he asked his son, is there anybody watching? And son, children are normally, they are of good instinct, and he was a man of good instinct, boy. And he said, yes, somebody is watching. He came down, he asked, shook his shoulder and asked, who is watching? He said, it's God, who is omnipresent and who is always watching, who is all-seeing. He is watching us. And the thief took these words seriously. And sometimes, some of the words have big influence on people. Some incidents, some events, like, for example, so many things fell on Newton's head every time. Nothing happened to him. But one fine morning when something fell on his head, it gave his inspiration to find out that there is theory of gravitational force. And sometimes it happens like that. And that particular day, thief these words of his son had a big influence on him. Yes, when I steal, God watches me. And from that day he changed. And this consciousness that God watches me and God is all-seeing and God is watching me, God is omnipresent. This makes a big difference in individuals. And this is what is the training in fasting given to us. You can see that this instinct that God is watching is there very much in fasting compared to any other kinds of rituals. For example, even among the Islamic rituals, for example, people go to masjid. When people go to masjid, everybody can watch them, that this person is going and coming back from the masjid. Or when somebody is performing Hajj pilgrimage, a lot of people can see them and a lot of people is bidding farewell to them and a lot of people know that he is going to Hajj. Or even if you go give charity, secretly, for example, a person receives the charity, knows that somebody has given me charity. Or if you send charity through someone, he knows that this fellow has given charity. But in fasting, you can see that for every person who fasts, there are ample opportunity for him to break his fast. He can drink water, he can have a sip of water. There are ample opportunity. But Muslims, they never do that. They never break their fast. 15 hours in hot sun, in summer season, for example, 16 hours in Kuwait, people fast, from children to the elderly people, believing that God is watching me. And this training is given for a month. And to change any habit, according to psychologists, one has to do anything continuously for 21 days. You can see in the month of fasting, there is a training for us for 1 month, which means it is the best period to change and mend our habits. So there is an option for you to develop and cultivate this God consciousness. And when you cultivate this, that God is watching me, it makes a big difference in us. And this is what is the purpose of fasting. You can see Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he explained that purpose of fasting is not just abstaining from food and drink. For example, he said, مَنْ لَمْ يَدَعْ قَوْلَ الزُّورِ وَالْعَمَلَ بِهِ فَلَيْسَ لِلَّهِ حَاجَةٌ فِي أَنْ يَدَعَ طَعَامَهُ وَشَرَابَهُ. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that whoever is not abstaining from telling lies and practicing lies, he need not have to abstain food and drink. So fasting is not about abstaining food and drink. Fasting is all about abstaining all kinds of falsehood, abstaining from telling lies and acting upon lies. This is what is fasting. And this kind of training one has to cultivate. And in the month of fasting, you can see that people wake up during the nights. And Prophet Muhammad said, كَمْ مِنْ صَائِمٍ لَيْسَ لَهُ مِنْ صِيَامِهِ إِلَّا الظَّمَوْ وَكَمْ مِنْ قَائِمٍ لَيْسَ لَهُ مِنْ قِيَامِهِ إِلَّا السَّهَرُ. So many people who fast in the month of Ramadan, they will not get anything other than hunger and thirst. And so many people who wake up during the nights of Ramadan, they will not get anything other than sleeplessness. So fasting is not about just abstaining from food or just waking up during the nights, but cultivating piety, cultivating God consciousness. This is what is the purpose of fasting. And we have to develop this kind of God consciousness. When you cultivate this kind of God consciousness, there will be a big difference in human society, that human beings always act thinking that God is watching me. And this one, you can see even in nikah sermon, nikah in the marriage sermon, in Islam, for example, nowadays everywhere in the world, when two people are coming for the marriage bonds, there are some orientation or counseling given to them. It is there among Catholics, it is there among Westerners, it is there everywhere. Among Muslims also, the nikah sermon is given. When when the marriage solemnization or the marriage is taking place, this nikah sermon is given. A sermon is given where 3 verses of Qur'an is mentioned. And every verse of Qur'an starts from the word ittaqillah. Ittaqillah means develop God consciousness. And again the verse says, Inna Allah kana alaykum raqiba. Be mindful that God is watching you. And this consciousness is there, then husband cannot cheat wife, and wife cannot cheat on husband, and husband cannot cheat on giving the rights of wife, and wife cannot cheat on fulfilling the rights of husband. So this is what is necessary, that God is watching me, and this makes a big difference in every aspect of our life. And this is the important message of month of Ramadan and month of fasting, and this is the important purpose of month of fasting. And you can see that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said about God consciousness. There are so many kinds of acts which God may forgive, and if you commit some mistakes, God may forgive. And also some of the tasks God will never forgive, and some of the tasks God will not forgive until you move. For example, the task, for example, if you have disturbed somebody, if you have taken some money from someone and if you have not returned to him, then you ask forgiveness from God. Oh God, forgive me. God will never forgive, because you have taken money from somebody, you have to return that money to him. This is what Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, says. When a man commits this kind of things, he has to first ask forgiveness, and he has to rectify the mistakes. Then he has to ask forgiveness from God. So this is one thing, that when you commit mistakes, or when you have not given rights of somebody, and when you have committed mistakes towards someone, then you have to ask forgiveness with that person. Then you can ask forgiveness from God. God will not forgive those mistakes. And some of the things God may forgive. For example, while fasting you made some mistakes, and while going to prayer you might have committed some mistakes. You can ask forgiveness of God, and God may forgive, and forgiving is a great quality of God. God is oft forgiving. God is most merciful, and these are the very important attributes of God. God may forgive. And some of the tasks God will never forgive. And one of the tasks which God will never forgive is ascribing partner to God. When you ascribe partner to God, God will never forgive. This is what Prophet Muhammad said, and this is not only said by Prophet Muhammad, it is said in almost all the scriptures that one should not ascribe partners to God. It is said in Vedas, this is said in Bible, and this is said in most of the scriptures, that one should not ascribe partners to God. And this is understandable. For example, human being never forget these kind of things. For example, if I write a book by name, my name is Sharafuddin, and if I write a book, I prefer to be that there should be my name in that book. If someone, a publisher, publishes that book with his name or somebody else's name, and there will be a big copyright issues going on with so many things you know that in the world, people will never tolerate. I want to identify my name wherever I have committed it, or I have performed it, and I have contributed my talents in it. Then I want to see my name. This is a human tendency. Like that, if a human being cannot tolerate that his name is identified with somebody else's name, then how can God, who is all-powerful, can tolerate this? This is not possible. That's why you can see that this kind of teaching is not only there in Qur'an, in Bible as well. For example, in Bible, there is a saying in Exodus chapter number 20, verse number 3 and 4. It says, "Worship no God but me, and do not make for yourself images of anything in heaven or on the earth or in the water under the earth, and do not bow down to any idols and worship it. Because I am the Lord, your Lord, and I tolerate no rivals." This is very strictly God is telling in Bible that I tolerate no rivals. Hence do not bow down to any idols and do not identify with me with any other gods, false gods. Said in Exodus chapter 20, verse number 2 and 3. You can verify it. Also you can see that this kind of quotation is there in Veda as well. For example, in Veda, in one place, God says, "Yat chakshusha na pashyati yenam chakshunshi pashyati tadeva brahmatam vidi na idam yadidam upasate." Means God cannot see by naked eye. And the power of sight given by God is a proof that God is existing. And the things which people worship, thinking that it is God, cannot be God. This is said in Veda. This is the same thing, that God will not tolerate any rivals to Him. So this is something God will never forgive. This is mentioned in everything, in every scriptures. And let me, in order to highlight this, let me ask you some questions. Very simple questions. I think most of you maybe will know the answers. And if you know the answers, you can tell. Who constructed Taj Mahal and where is it? Shah Jahan, and it is in Agra. A lot of people they know, and it's a very simple question. And let me ask another question. Where is the tallest tower and what is its name?
Burj Khalifa in Dubai.
Burj Khalifa. And where is it?
Dubai.
In Dubai. Everybody know it. Let me ask you a third question. Who produced the film Tare Zameen Par? Amir Khan. A lot of people know it. So these are the simple questions and everybody knows the answer. Why people know the answer and why you should know it? Because it's a general knowledge. Because Taj Mahal is one of the wonders of the world. But it has a lot of planning, it has engineering behind it, and it has a lot of execution, and so many years people worked for that. Without that it will not come into being. That's why you strongly believe that yes, it is Shah Jahan who constructed it. And also tallest tower in the world. It has engineering, it has planning, and it has a lot of investment. Then only it comes into being. Without that it will not. And it happened in front of you and we know about it. That's why we strongly believe that yes, it is there, and the name is Burj Khalifa. And Tare Zameen Par is also an incredible film. And there is somebody who produced it, and there is a great idea that how to bring up your children, and this idea is disseminated in a beautiful way in that film, and that's why a lot of people, they know that yes, this is a good film. Imagine if there are some Westerners here, some non-Indians here, if I ask this question, and at least two questions they may not know, or many questions they may not know. And what will happen if they don't know? Nothing. There will be no big implications, because this is just a general knowledge. And there will be no big implications if you don't know who constructed Taj Mahal or who constructed where is the Burj Khalifa and all these things. It will not have big implications. Whereas, for example, if you don't know, the whole universe will not come into being without God. And if you don't know about God, and if you don't know properly about God, it will have a very big implication on your life. Not like these questions. If I ask you who is God and what are His attributes, people may give you different answers. And answer is not very easy, and you may not be sure about your answers as well. But this is a very important question to be known by everyone, because it will have a big implications on your life. If you don't know where is Taj Mahal, it may not have any implications on your life. But about God, knowing about God will have a big implication of your life of your family, and life of your coming generations, and it will have an impact on every aspect of your life, your culture, your attitude, your day-to-day norms, in everything it will have a big impact. That's why it is very important for us to understand who is God and to knowing the Creator, and that is the purpose of fasting. And you can see that one, in order to understand that God is there, one need not have to look around the universe. He can look within himself. Human body is a very complex body. It has a digestion system, it has temperature balancing system, it has immune system, so many small organs. For example, it has kidney. Everyone has kidney. For kidney, what is the alternative arrangement? If somebody has a kidney failure, they will take him to the dialysis unit. And dialysis unit is as big as this stage. And it is a human being with in spite of all his development could not produce a kidney which performs the task of dialysis. It needs a big room like this, because God is a beautiful creator. And this complex creation itself is a proof that God is existing. That's why we have to think about God, and we have to have God consciousness. And what is the purpose of this life? This is also very important for us to understand. For example, you can see that every creation, there is a purpose. For example, car. What is the purpose of the car? Transportation. If car is not performing the purpose or fulfilling the task of transportation, then it will not be a car. Again, you can see that this room is in spite of the hot temperature in Bahrain. This room is kept cool because of the AC, air conditioning system. And what is the purpose of the AC? To keep this room cool. And again, you can see the clothing. For example, all of you are looking handsome today. Why? Because you are all wearing beautiful clothes. And the purpose of clothing was what? Covering themselves. Some are using for uncovering themselves also with these slipping pants and all this modern kind of dress. That is another thing. But still, normally, what is the purpose of dress? This is to cover ourselves. Right? This is the purpose. So again, what is the purpose of life? This is also, for everything there should be a purpose. And what is the purpose of life? God says the purpose of life in Qur'an al-Kareem, خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. God has created life and death so that God wants to see who amongst you are doing righteous deeds. God has given you so many choices. We as an individuals, we as human beings, we have choice. And according to our choice, there will be implications in our life. If I choose to become a doctor, it will have implications in my life and I will become a doctor. If I choose to become an engineer, it will have an implication in my life and I will end up becoming an engineer. Like that, about God also, you have a choice. You have the choice to for example, for every choice, you make some exploration. For example, where to send your son for higher education, you make a lot of exploration. Where to buy a flat, you make a lot of exploration and a lot of calculations. Finally, you come to a conclusion. When you make decisions, every intelligent people, they make a lot of explorations and they make a lot of survey and try to understand things, and then only will they make decisions. Without that, they will not make any decisions. This is common with regard to any small or big decisions in your life. Whereas with regard to God, for example, we never think about it. We never investigate. We never study. We never study our own scriptures. There are so many good things in our own scriptures. I had a chance to study Bible. I had a chance to study Veda and Qur'an and all these scriptures. There are so many common teachings in it and so many beautiful teachings in it. And normally what I have seen is that people never think about their scriptures. They never read their scriptures. They never understand their scriptures. They just practice it. So about God, you have a choice to investigate, and God has given you eyes. God has given you all these organs by which you can use your intelligence. We never use it for understanding God, understanding spirituality, and understanding our religion. So it is necessary that one has to make a perfect choice, and with investigation, with thinking, one has to make a perfect choice. Otherwise, because it has a big implication of your life, your future life, your life of your children, and life of our coming generation. Again, how to understand God? There is a criterion given in all the scriptures. Let me mention only about Quran because of the time limitation. In Quran, In order to understand God, a criterion is given that who can be God. Qur'an in the chapter number 112 says, Qul huwallahu ahad. Say that God is one and unique. This is one of the attributes of God. God cannot be two, God cannot be three, God cannot be five, because in every scripture it is mentioned that God is only one. Ekam sadvipra bahuda vadanti. God is only one, and there may be so many attributes. God cannot be two, but there may be attributes. And God, you can say, call him Allah, you can call it, in every language the word is different. In Kannada it is Devaru, in Tamil it is Andavan, in Malayalam it is Daiva, in Hebrew language it is Elai. What is the last words of Jesus Christ? Elai, Elai, Mala Sabaktani. Oh God, why you have forsaken me? These were the last words of Jesus Christ. He called him Elai, because it is Hebrew word, his language was Hebrew. And again, Allah is not Muslims' God. A lot of people think that Allah means Muslims' God. Allah means, it's a word for God in Arabic language. For example, Arabic Bible, if you take Arabic Bible is available in Bahrain as well, and the name is mentioned there as Al-Kitab al-Muqaddasa. Al-Kitab al-Muqaddasa means Holy Bible. And if you open Holy Bible in the first chapter itself, 17 times word Allah is mentioned. So Allah is not Muslims' God, Allah means God. And this is, first thing is, Qul huwallahu ahad. God is only one and unique. Allahu samad. And Allah is independent. Allah is eternal and absolute. As-samad means eternal and absolute. Or in a simple language, He is independent. And a lot of people, they think that God is dependent. When I went to Phuket in Thailand with my family, I saw that in every top of the mountain there are statues of Gautam Buddha. I asked some people there, why in every top of the mountains there are statues of Gautam Buddha? And one man said, because when tsunami came in many parts of Thailand, all statues washed away. That's why we want to protect our God and kept it on the top of the mountains. This is because of the human tendency that he thinks that God is dependent. God is not dependent, but God is independent. He is not dependent on us. This is another quality of God. Another one is Lam Yalid Walam Yulad. He is not begotten and nor he begetteth. He is not produced by someone and he is not procreating. God is not procreating. Procreation is a human needs, animals needs, maybe needs of the flower. For example, you can see that young boys and teenagers look very handsome, and at the marriage age, boys are handsome and girls are beautiful. And this attraction should be there because they have to come together and there is reproduction. Procreation is there. Flower looks very beautiful, very attractive, because there is a pollination process. That bird should take the pollens to the flowers, then only pollination takes place. But for God, all these kinds of things are not there. So He is not producing anyone, He is not son of anybody, and He is not producing anyone. This is another quality. And walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. No one is equivalent to Him. He is not equivalent to anyone, and you cannot compare Him with anyone. Normally we attribute so many things to God because we have our own imaginations, our own understanding, and God is beyond our understanding. We have limited understanding, and we always try to understand God with our limited understanding. So God is beyond our understanding. He is not like unto anyone. He is not comparable to anything we compare. So these are the attributes of God. And finally, while my time is finishing, let me tell you the last story. Today you can see so many concepts of God, so many traditions and culture in the name of God. Why it came into existence? Because this story tells you that this is the reason why it came into existence. There was a small girl, and she was now very curious to understand everything, every small thing. And this is common with our children as well. They ask so many questions. Always encourage them to ask our questions, because we never ask. Once we are grown up, we just follow things blindly. We never question. One small girl, she was very curious in everything. She saw that her mother is frying pan, removing its head and tail. She was very curious. She went and asked her mother, why you are removing head and tail of the fish and frying only middle part of it? Because when I went to Singapore, there is every restaurant I saw fish head curry. Some people like to have fish head curry. So head is not removable, maybe it is good part. That's why she asked, why you are removing head and tail? She said, I don't know, my dearest daughter, go to your grandmother, she was doing the same thing, I am following. And she went to grandmother. And grandmother said, I don't know anything about it. Go and ask your great-grandmother. She was doing the same thing. I am just following it. And great-grandmother was sick, sleeping, and the girl was very curious. She went to her and she woke her up and she asked, why are you removing your head and tail when frying fish? She said, in my time, when your great-grandfather brought me to this house was very small. And all the utensils were also very small. So fish was not fitting well into the small utensil. That's why I was removing its head and tail and fish, frying only the middle part of it. This is how culture originates. Most of the culture, most of the tradition, somebody has originated for some reason. Then people blindly follow without reasoning, without application of reasoning, without thinking. This is what is happening in every society. So what is very important then, like for every decision we think, we investigate and we make an intelligent decision. It is very important for us to make intelligent decisions about traditions, about religion, about God as well. May God help us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brother Sharafuddin, for enlightening us with the valuable thoughts about the message of Ramadan. Dear brothers and sisters, we are really very honored to have you all here this evening. We are also humbled to have you with us with your valuable time. We would like to have your feedback, your valuable feedback about today's gathering. I request you to please fill in the feedback form provided to you by our volunteers and hand it over back to us. Thank you. Now, to end this program, I invite the coordinator of this program, Brother Imran Ahmed, to give a vote of thanks. Brother Imran Ahmed.
On behalf of Indian Welfare Association, Dawah, it is a privilege and a great joy for me to extend a vote of thanks to all those who have contributed in one way or the other to make this interfaith iftar program to a great success. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to those guests who at the invitation of their friends agreed to spare their valuable time to join us for iftar, thus showing solidarity towards human values. We strongly believe that awareness of cultures and interfaith dialogues on common social values are the foundation to a healthy society. Only then the atmosphere is created to understand different communities in the right perspective. This was the sole purpose of organizing this event, and I hope we all must have achieved this to a great extent. I highly appreciate our guest speaker, Brother Sharafuddin Soofi, and also thank him who enlightened us with his thoughtful speech on message of Ramadan. Thank you, sir. Last but not the least, let me extend my gratitude to all those volunteers who have dedicated their time to organize this program to the minutest of the details. Let's continue this tradition of sharing values and cultures and continue holding similar cross-cultural events in the future. I hope you all must have achieved this. I hope you all must have enjoyed this event and our hospitality. Thank you all once again giving us a chance to serve you. Thank you. God bless.
Dear brothers and sisters, now we are preparing for breaking the fast. After breaking the fast, we will be praying the evening prayer and we will go for dinner. Appreciate your patience till we finish the evening prayers and then we will go for the dinner. Thank you.